people protesting in the streets before this attack. And what we also find out is that Hamas was invented by Israel. Why? Because there was the Palestinian Liberation Organization.
Call Haloyim, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Ruach Kadash. Listen to our digital epistle to the 12 tribes of Israel. Double honors to the elders and apostles who've been laboring in this truth. Honor to any brother pushing on the likewise doctrine or any brother or sister. We just believe in doctrine in the last days. There's another, digital epistle to the 12 tribes, to so-called Negro, Latino, Hispanic, Native, and to speckled birds, to the Israelites spread across the four corners. Matthew 12:25, and Jesus and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Every city or house divided against itself shall not stand.
PLO, and they were moderate and they were secular. Well, so Israel's idea was, hey, let's make this radical, a religious extremist organization, and they'll split the Palestinians. And so divide and conquer is much easier than trying to conquer a united Palestine. So they listen. Here it is. Anyone who wants to thwart the establishment, this is from Haaretz. Okay. So this is from a site. It says anyone who wants to thwart the establishment of a Palestine state has to support bolstering Hamas and transferring money to Hamas. This is what Netanyahu told the Likud party's Knesset members in March of 2019. This is part of our strategy. Well, first, let me say, great job.
Wow.
Yeah. Did Netanyahu's nicknames, are his nicknames Mr. Security and BB-Sitter?
As a matter of fact, they are. His nicknames?
Really?
Yeah, he gave himself that.
His nicknames are Mr. Security and BB-Sitter?
He calls himself the BB-Sitter.
Wow. Except we call him those names sarcastically now.
Yeah, let him keep those names. Just say, like, hey, here comes Mr. Security.
So just again, this is something I don't think you'll be told on mainstream news media, is that Israel government itself invented Hamas, funded Hamas, because they thought it would be easier to control the Palestinian people with two different organizations vying for their loyalty. And so that's called divide and conquer. And they're not going to tell you that on CNN or Fox or NBC News, or they're not going to tell you that what?
This is 29. This ain't 2006 when they walled them up because they voted for Hamas.
Blockade on 2006.
And so you blockaded them for how long? 17 years for voting for Hamas. And you're paying money to Hamas in 2019, and you're telling everybody that. I didn't know you were part of Iran.
Egypt intelligence official says Israel ignored repeated warnings.
We could see who these people are, We see who the Amalekites are. Yeah, and we see what Yahushua said. We see the even when you pledge our allegiance, individually, we know how evil he is, man. We see how he really he really is the accuser of the brethren, man. He's the accuser of all the nations, man. See how he creates these categories in the scenes, and he creates this Hegelian dialectic, creating controlling both sides to get their roles. They'll create and fund an organization. They'll fund two organizations. They'll fund the Palestinian government and Hamas. These are really Zionist organizations. Created to justify Zionism. And we understand that Zionism can't even survive without the 1948. And look, and yeah, they have the army, yeah, but
of something big.
Was the warning not to invent Hamas?
Hey, come on, we can either play the blame game or we can do the adult thing and flatten Gaza and then bomb Iran's oil refineries. That's the grown-up thing to do. In fact, whatever happens, we should definitely attack Iran. Am I right?
I'm thinking about.
Yeah, Hamas maybe an army, but they'll fund it, man. Even the quotes up to what was it 2019, 2017. of how and then who talking about how they need to continue to fund Iran, man. I mean, fund um Hamas. And they're gonna say, oh, it's backed by Iran or whatever, whatever to justify attacking Iran. When which is all these proxies are really for, and all these terrorist groups are really for just to justify war and justify land stealing, because it's all about trade routes, land, wealth, resources, So these nations, man, because now they come in that as that lamb, pushing that great deception. You know, you gotta create a whole bunch of laws just to, just to do the old-fashioned transfer of wealth, man.
Right now, I'm looking to the next
Yeah.
attack. I'm with Lindsey
Jim,
Graham right now.
this is the thing, Jimmy, that we have to talk about. But it could spin so far out of control. What happens if they do go after and hit Iran? Iran is aligned with Russia.
With Russia.
Yeah.
This can get crazy.
Well, we'll forget all about that Ukraine screw up, won't we?
This could get really World War III, right? So here's another one from the Wall Street Journal: How Israel helped to spawn Hamas. That's from January 24th, 2009.
And they kept giving money over that 10 years. The Prime Minister of Israel. Wow. Great job.
So here's Spike Cohen. He breaks it down. Hamas, to my great regret, is Israel's creation. These are the words of Avner Cohen, a former Israeli religious affairs official who worked in Gaza for decades. As you watch the death and destruction that is currently unfolding in Israel and Palestine, it's important for you to know that the Israeli government is responsible for the rise of Hamas. Wow. Well, my great regret is I wanted to blame Iran. This could get really World War III, right?
Warning not to invent Hamas.
Hey, come on. We can either play the blame game or we can do the adult thing and flatten Gaza and then bomb.
And it's funny because Hamas in the Hebrew means violence. So you're saying, oh, it's a mistake that we invented violence. No, it's not a mistake. It's all justification. They have more weapons. They have the backing of the Zionist world. It's not a mistake, man. The Lord said He had war against Amalek forever. He's gonna keep lying his way to get more and more land, murder and justify land.
And you're telling everybody that. I didn't know you were part of Iran.
Egypt intelligence official says Israel ignored repeated warnings of something big.
Was the warning not to invent Hamas?
Hey, come on. We can either play the blame game or we can do the adult thing and flatten Gaza and then bomb Iran's oil refineries.
Yeah.
That's the grown-up thing to do. In fact, whatever happens, we should definitely attack Iran. Am
I'm
I
also
right?
thinking about that right now. I'm looking to the next
Yeah.
attack. I'm with Lindsey
Jim,
Graham right now.
this is the thing, Jimmy, that we have to talk about. But it could spin so far out of control. What happens if they do go after and hit Iran? Iran is aligned with Russia.
With Russia.
Yeah.
This can get crazy.
Well, we'll forget all about that Ukraine screw up, won't we?
This could get really
And, Russia could get dragged in, especially multiple ways, man. Ezekiel 38:2, Son of man, set thy face against Magog, the land of Magog, the chief prince Meshach and Tubal, prophesy against him, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn thee back, put hooks into thy jaws. Like you put into an animal, you can lead him where he is, because that's how the Lord, put that spirit back into him. We put that war like Magog, spirit, like the war like Japhet spirit, man. He put him into the to modern day Edomites, running Russia. I'll bring thee back forth. I'll bring thee forth. And all thy armies and horses, and the horsemen, and all them clothed in all sorts of armor, in great company, with bucklers and shields, all them handling swords, Of course, in the modern day technology, with all the soldiers and their vehicles. Persia, Ethiopia, Persia, Iran, Iran, a lot more. India, Pakistan. We see Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. And Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togomar and in the north quarters, and all the people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee. Be thou a guard unto them, man. That's what Moab gonna be. Not Moab. That's what Magog gonna be, man. That's what Russia gonna be. He gonna be a guard onto all these nations. Gonna be a guard onto Iran. Gonna be a guard onto Syria. Gonna be a guard onto on the Lebanon. Or especially support Iran to, and especially as supporting Iran to support Hezbollah. It's nice to call they call these people proxy. They'll call them proxies, but Hezbollah more legitimate than than a lot of organizations. Israel and all their occupations of what I could be mistaken. Could have been like a 20-year occupation in Lebanon. Man, Amalek, a wild man. And after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years, thou shalt come into a land that is brought from the sword, and it shall gather out of many people against the mountains, against Israel, which have been laid waste, but is brought forth out of the nations. They shall surely dwell. They shall dwell safely out of all them. Yeah, man, we're seeing that, man. On the mountains, man. We see, man, all these nations coming against the mountain of Israel, man. We see, Amalek pointed at the ancient places to themselves.
World War III, right? So here's another one, the Wall Street Journal, how Israel helped to spawn Hamas. That's from January 24th, 2009.
And they kept giving money over that 10 years. The Prime Minister of Israel. Wow. Great job.
So here's Spike Cohen. He breaks it down. Hamas, to my great regret, is Israel's creation. These are the words of Avner Cohen, a former Israeli religious affairs official who worked in Gaza for decades. As you watch the death and destruction that is currently unfolding in Israel and Palestine, it's important for you to know that the Israeli government is responsible for the rise of Hamas. Wow. Well, my great regret is I wanted to blame Iran for this. So stop telling people that. If it wasn't for Israel's government, Hamas might not even exist at all. Starting in the late 70s, the Israeli government decided that they wanted a radical Islamist counterweight to the PLO, which was run by Yasser Arafat's secularist and left-wing Fatah party. Their thinking was that if the Palestinians were busy fighting each other, they wouldn't be able to fight Israel.
Hamas. To be violent, to be invocant, to maltreat, to make bare, to shake off, to violate, to do violence, to take away. So who created the name of this organization? Was it that side of Ishmael and that side of the Amalekites and the Palestinians? And the remnant of all the people, the rest of the people that they are? Like Al Qaeda is named the base, the toilet. You think you just call here's violence? You're not gonna come up with a more empowering to your people, just violence. It's like an organization just already created to be condemned as jihad, man. It's all set up, even from the name.
Divide and conquer.
And they still thought that in 2019.
Yes.
In the 70s, they came up with this genius plan.
And they're still doing that plan in 2019.
Wow.
So they use the same plan we always use for everything that has always worked and never blew up in our assholes. And you want to blame Netanyahu for this?
They used the Hillary Pied Piper strategy that was so effective against Trump.
To treat violently, to do wrong, physical wrong, ethical wrong, physical and ethical wrong, to be treated violently. That's what you're going to name your own organization.
So let's keep going. Starting in the late 70s, they began giving direct funding to a fringe group of radicals, their organizations, and their mosques. One of them was Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza, who had also formed the Islamist group Mujama al-Islamiyah. They were recognized as a charity by the Israeli government in 1979 and started receiving funding soon after. Brigadier General Yitzhak Sergev, who was the Israeli military governor in Gaza at the time, said that he was given a budget to fund these mosques and organizations and was told to give them preferential treatment over the PLO. Cohen wrote an official report to his superiors in the 1980s where he warned them against continuing the strategy. I suggest focusing our efforts on finding ways to break up this monster before this reality jumps in our face, he wrote at the time. They didn't listen. Let me guess, they called him a self-hating Jew?
Yep.
In 1987, those groups formed Hamas, and the rest is history. Thousands of innocent Israelis and Palestinians killed, and as we see today, the death count continues to rise. It's important to note that the United States government gave billions of dollars to the Israeli government and hundreds of millions to the Palestinian Authority. American taxpayers are being forced to bankroll the carnage you're currently witnessing. It's long past time for that to end. Foreign military aid is the act of taking money from working Americans and giving it to rich, powerful foreigners to fund wars, genocides, terrorism, and other horrors. It's long past the time.
Same thing that they do with the Israelites, man. You know, the sheep pity not the flock, man. You know, and how they set that up, man, for Jake, man. They set over authority of Jake, you know, or of that nation, man. You know, to really just be a surrogate white man.
For that to end. And here is from S.L. Kanthan. Says, did you know that Israel created...
And just so you know, you're dealing with Edomites, man, on both sides, man. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he do good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. This is the Edomite, man. You have Amalek mistreating Amalek. And you got two different groups of Khazars. Two different groups of Khazars. You know, in that land, you know, two different people who stole our heritage, two different people who defaced the images, push their white Jesus, you know, little Khazars, you know, coming out, you know, the Khazars, you know, being sold as slaves, you know, by the Ottomans, you know, being brought up this way. See a lot of them with color. And you have the other Khazars, you know. You got the Idumeans, you know. You got the Edomites, man. First converted by John Hyrcanus, you know, during the Maccabean period. You know, and you know, however that ends up, you know, them people end up in the region of, you know, of Ukraine. You know, how them people end up, you know, in the region of Germany, you know. So yeah, these people just going to war, and on their side they're oppressing them. Got their defense forces, and they got, you know, they set up two different factions that really suppress them.
created Hamas, there were two reasons for this shocking strategy. Divide and rule, split the Palestinian leadership into two divisions. Use Hamas's hardline as an excuse to reject any peace plan. That is, create a controlled opposition which is violent enough to keep the endless war going and sabotage peace plans. Hamas is an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood, which has had very close relations with the United States and the West for decades. However, this plan has now backfired. Now Hamas is too independent and too strong to be contained. Ironically, Hamas, the creation of Israelis and Americans, may force Israel to go back to the negotiation table.
Great job. The gain of functioned Hamas. Great work.
I think all our politicians need to read these tweets that you just put up there right now, because they're all saying we need to support Israel and it's time of need against these radical groups. Meanwhile, it was Israel and the United States who funded and supported these radical groups.
Okay, now, but can I ask you this?
Knowest that this is not of old, that man was placed upon earth, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, but the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment, man. Everybody has their time to rise, man. You know, the race not to the swift. Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung, they which have seen him. So say, where is he, man? So these people think they're gonna, you got the Rothschilds celebrating that they got the Holy Land. These people think they're gonna live forever, man. These people got the adrenaline, thinking that they can extend their lives. These Edomites will keep themselves in the spirit, in this world, they'll keep themselves, on the, how do I say it? I'm trying to say the spirit world, but they're gonna keep themselves, in the flesh as long as possible. With the adrenochrome pushing their lifespan, how many 100 years, I'm not saying hundreds and hundreds, but maybe 150. I mean, that's their goal, man. These people in their mind, they will never be able to die. How far they want to take it with the CRISPR. He shall fly away as a dream and not be found. He shall be chased away from he shall be chased away as a vision of night. The eye which saw him shall see him no more, neither his place shall behold him. You ain't gonna see this man in the holy man, in the authorities at the top of governments. About he ain't gonna have zero government. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall seek to restore their goods, man. Chile to the Israelites, man. It seems like, they're creating, political organizations, to benefit the people, advocate for these people. And it's really just to demonize them, man. So it's funny how you got Jake fighting, during these protests, when their organizations that were made for them were ultimately to demonize them. And now, and you know how he is, man. He'll get everyone against everyone, man. He's a master, man. Just like how Eve is, manipulating, she'll get everyone to turn against each other, man. His house, his bones are full of the sins of his youth, which shall lie down in the dust. Though wickedness shall be sweet in his mouth, he shall hide it under his tongue, man. And these people that call these people animals and cattle, but just a few years ago, they had to talk about how they need to continue to fund these people that they will compare to the National Socialists, and they're telling them that this is the threat they'll take over the world, man. If all the nations also support them in this, not even invasion, really, this genocide. It's not a war. How you gonna have a war? It's not a government. Though wickedness, and they're not a state. Though wickedness be sweet in their mouth, he shall hide it under his tongue. Though he spare it, but forsake it not, but still keep it within his mouth. Yet his meat is in his bowels is turned, and all his gas with him. He shall swallow down his riches, but he shall vomit them up, and God shall cast them out of his belly, man. Man, we're gonna see that really soon. Well, when the land is cleared and the nukes in, man, we take all the resources, man. He shall suck the poison out the ass of the viper. Tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers. And it's funny how they say, that they want to see free Palestine from, I don't know, is that quote from sea to sea or whatever, or river to sea, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what it is. But he shall not see from river to flood or brooks of honey or butter, the land of milk and honey. So he not gonna see them. So you gonna see Israel, man. Is that work that he get done, that we're gonna throw back in the burrows. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down, according to his substance shall the restitution be, there shall not rejoice therein, because he hath oppressed and forsaken the house of the poor. He hath violently taken, it was funny, violently taken away the houses which he had built not. You know, so it's funny how I said how violently how he's violently taking the houses, man. How violently taking the house of the Lord, but he created an organization called violence to justify them and to make themselves seem like, they're not the violent ones, even though it's violence is clearly very disproportional.
Do you guys think that we should stop funding Hamas?
At this point?
Because I remember hearing they weren't good, like, I don't know, like 20 years ago. Like, imagine Al Qaeda. Remember after 9/11, they're like,
Hey,
we're going to still fund
we're gonna still fund Al Qaeda.
We did, but we didn't tell everybody every 5 seconds.
So here's the spokesperson at the State Department, Kirby, and here's what he has to say.
Hamas wouldn't have been able to function at all had it not been for propping up by the Iranian regime. But we haven't seen any.
So they're blaming
Iranian?
So they're blaming Iran for propping up Hamas when it was Israel specifically using American money.
Well, I think when Kirby found out the truth, he was crying about it, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh, I was totally mistaken about that.
So now this is what they're not telling you. This is what they're not telling you. They're telling you Hamas is just these crazies, and now we got to go fund Israel and slaughter Palestinians. This was the Israelis' plan all along, and there's no denying it because Netanyahu said it. It's on.
Yeah, I want to make it clear. I don't consider Hamas to be freedom fighters. I don't support them. Why did Netanyahu support them?
That's right.
That's just really weird. I don't go all far like that self-hating Jew Norman Finkelstein did.
That's right.
I would admire them. It just seems odd to me that your president would do that and brag about it, and then blame Iran.
Let's see what else this idiot says.
And that's why it's the smallest of the flocks will draw them out, man. And the smallest of the flock, Amalek is gonna draw Elam out. He's gonna draw Persia out.
Evidence that tells us they were witting, involved in the planning.
So this is it. They're blaming Iran. So
with no proof.
So with absolutely no proof. That's it. And so if the Ukraine war funding finally stopped in America, they're going to invent another war. Here it is. Yeah. And now it's going to be between Syria, Russia, Iran, Israel, and Hamas, and Hezbollah.
I heard Iran hid Nazis in Canada too back in the.
Hey, come see us do it a live shows. We're going to be in Dallas.
Isaiah 4:4-1. Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and all the workmen, for they are men. Let them all gather together, and let them stand. Yet they shall be in fear. They shall all be ashamed together, man. We see, man. Ezekiel 36:19. I will scatter them among the heathen, and they were. Oh damn. Jeremiah 50:45. Therefore, hear ye that counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he hath taken against Babylon and his purposes, against the land of Chaldeans. Which is funny, man. We know, Chaldeans. There's sorcerers of Babylon. The Cushites. And we see the Samaritans, man. We see them back in the land being mistreated, man. Yeah. Talmud, Babylonian Talmud, very heavily influenced. Amalek is very influenced about witchcraft that the Cushites were doing, the Chaldeans were doing. Don't show the least of the flocks. So draw them out, man, because they're sorceries, man. Because the Lord, man. So therefore, you hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh, that He's taking against Babylon, America, and the purposes that no, and that He had purpose against the land of the Chaldeans, man. Between the Edomites, man, pushing out witchcraft, and Amalek pushing out witchcraft in the Holy Land. That's really affecting us, man. We see the police oppress us over here, police oppress them over there. They're filing over here, they're filing over there. We, they bring their mentality over here. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely He shall make their habitation desolate with them. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushua, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushua. I hope this lesson was edifying. Call Haloim Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua.